Hey everyone, welcome to Breakout Wednesday for the 1st of June 2022. It's currently about 10 p.m. on the West Coast, midnight on the East Coast, a bit late tonight. Having one of those days. First of all, remember, this is never financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is simply a video blog on how one trader sees a market, and everyone needs to take responsibility for their own decisions. Okay, so just quickly, a few things I'm going to do tonight. A few people want me to talk about psychology and the mental side of the game. I'm going to do that. A few people just want me to mention my favorite scans. I've done that before, but I'm going to go over that again in case it's changed. And then just the normal stuff. Next week, I'm going to talk a bit more about position sizing and risk management, okay? That's going to happen next week. First of all, quickly, the markets have been rallying a little bit, obviously, but we're still very much in no man's land, aren't we? You know, sideways chop, rallying up into this resistance here. If you quickly look at the NASDAQ, you know, we've had a bit of a rally off these lows, but we've got massive resistance to contend with and all these moving average to work through. And it needs to do a lot more work until we're out of a bear market. But obviously, there's still a lot happening in energy markets and certain sectors. Lithium got hammered today due to a report from Goldman Sachs, and I haven't read it. I don't really care. All I really care about is price. And I think I heard, you know, seen a few people around the traps who are going to be using this as a buying opportunity, and I just never do that, in my opinion, well, me personally, because it just buying dips is so hard, and never met anyone that can do it properly as a trader. And I think if you're an investor, that's different. You know, if you're dollar cost and averaging into certain things over many years, that's different. But for traders, I just don't know anyone that's ever made money doing it. And I just concentrate on what I know how to do, which is trade breakouts and VCP patterns in the strongest stocks, in the strongest sectors. And that's it. Now, quickly, my favorite scans that I do, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that I do these scans. I don't know why these have been unticked. I must have been playing around before, but with some other scans. But this scan usually just automatically comes up. I have it saved down here as well. But I do this scan every day. Okay, I do this on NASDAQ, NISI, and ASX data. Okay, the three markets I trade, and I haven't missed a day. I don't know how many years. Like, I have no idea, but it would be over a decade. Christmas, Easter, birthdays, holidays, honeymoon, whatever. I do my scans because if you don't have a strict routine and ridiculously good discipline, you're just not going to really do well as a trader. And this is a hard game, and you're up against very competitive people. And if you just get out, if you miss scans and miss days, it's like someone who's trying to make the Olympics, and they miss a marathon runner, and they miss 5 days of training because they just want to lie on the couch and watch Netflix and eat Tim Tams. You know, they're never going to make it. And as a trader, if you miss your routine and get out of your routine, you know, we all have shit periods in our lives where we maybe go off the boil for a few days. That's life, right? We all have that. But even those, I always still try and do my scans, even if I'm not trading, because it's just the routine and the discipline that you need. And so I do that on my three markets I trade. Now, I also do Dava scan, to this one, just screenshot it, exact settings, okay? It doesn't matter, like, there's nothing magic about my settings. Like, it's just a damn Dava scan. I just have it set so that it finds, you know, lots of boxes, like any box, and just basic settings here, and I just have these filters super low. There's nothing magic. I'm just scrolling through hundreds of charts, and Protrader's just making it easier for me. And quicker for me, and then I'm using discretion to choose. I do that on daily and weekly data, by the way. I do Frank's pattern because it finds amazing bases. I do that in daily and weekly every single day. And I do actually they're the only ones I do. Frank's pattern, Sam's Davis, and that one every single day. Why the hell does that happen? And then I also do the high low scan, pretty much not every day, but a couple times a week on daily and weekly data. And that's it. There's a few others I play around with, but they're the bread and butters. I try and just do a few scans on a daily basis rather than trying to do too many, because, you know, if you do too many scans, you're never going to have the discipline to do it every day. Okay, so that's the scan stuff done. Now, just quickly rattle through last week's trades before I get on to some other stuff. This is just a trade from ages ago. I've had an up and down week. I've been hit on some of my positions in a big way. Okay, ORG, I've trimmed this a bunch of times. Okay, I've been in it since back here, like $4 something, $4.60 or something, I think. And I've trimmed a bunch, but I still had a hold in, a bit of a hold in, and that I think I added back in. I can't really remember, somewhere back here, but and then a report came out today. It wasn't a good report, okay, and I got out of, not on open, but just after open, I got out of the rest of it. Had to give a lot back. That is life. I just think it's good showing that I'm not immune to these things. I have bad days and bad weeks where I think, shit, this game's hard, okay. AGL, okay, took this entry last week, okay. A bad report came out about, issues with the demerger on this day, okay, and so I got out of half of this, not on open, down here, had to take a loss on it, and I'm still in half of it. Okay, and so when, my rules state that when something like that happens, a report that I don't totally get, I don't really know the more medium to long term, my stop loss will still stay where it's always been before the trade started, but I'm allowed to trim half on bad news like that. So I'm out of half of AGL for a loss. I got out of it way too slow when it opened this day. I was distracted. And anyway, took a bath on half and then still in half, which is around break even. And then let's just go through a few others, okay? YAL, YAL, okay, and so I got out of for those in it, it came out with a takeover, a trading halt due to takeover, plans from some Chinese company that already owned a majority holding, I think, of the stock. And, you'd expect it when it wouldn't open the next day for it to gap up. It didn't do that. And I was waiting there for a gap up, saw a gap down, and that is never a good thing. And I sold my entire lot on open. Okay. And so I got out of that at about at different lots, but some break even, some for a profit. Anyway, that trade is done, and that's how I dealt with it. TER was a big win for me, and I've scaled out of my entire holdings on TER. PBT, I've started scaling out of PBT. I'm out of about 60% of that, and it's a good win, and I'm going to hold the rest and ride it. HZN, I'm still sitting in. Okay, it's come back a little bit, but it's choppy and it's tiny volume on this pullback, so I'm just sitting in it. CVI from last week, there's just trade setting up here. I'm in and out of that for a good win, and the other one, NOG, that was breaking out of this awesome base. I've got out of a lot of that, but I'm still got a little bit of it left. Okay, so I got hit on some of my holdings, and then had some good trades in others. So still an okay week for me, but shit happens, and this is a hard game, and certainly got hit on some of those. Hey, and so some new setups before I get into the psychology stuff. Some new setups that I'm looking at. Fortescue on a weekly. Okay, it's just been contracting and contracting and contracting here, and my theory here is that I'm gonna be open-minded to Fortescue having maybe just that it's just getting started, okay, and that it's going to have maybe a massive leg higher. And so I'm open-minded to that. I'm going to give myself a chance to participate in it, and I'm going to trade this breakout of this range if it comes, and follow rules as per always, okay. So FMG is one I'm looking at. I'm still looking at the Oilers setting up, okay. So Santos, it still hasn't broken out, okay, had a it hit this resistance on this day, and then it's forming more of a right hand side. So I still like STO, okay, and a lot of its brothers and cousins are setting up too. BPT, not in that, but watching it, and Woodside, okay, setting up as well. This is a bit messier. I'd prefer kind of a horizontal breakout, right, like Stowe, than this one, but I'm just watching. The point is, I'm just watching all these three stocks set up together, and I'm watching FAR on the ASX. Now, this used to be a complete piece of crap stock that just was at the mercy of cap raise after cap raise after cap raise, and then I believe they did a restructure, bought a lot back, and have got their shit together a little bit, and then it's just got this gigantic base that's formed. and we have a nice tight sideways range. So definitely started to get interested in FAR, and it's one I'm just watching on a daily basis and analysing its volume every day and trying to make up my mind up. Thought it was interesting to point out just how weak Kogan is still in a downtrend. It's not. It's got a lot of relative weakness, like when the market's rallying, Kogan is not. But that's just more for interest's sake. Split it. The old buy now, pay later, stock is in a weak sector still, and this is no way I'm putting an entry in this yet. But you can see that its moving average is all starting to come together. This thing needs more time for a proper base to form. I want this to come down, form a right-hand side, and stuff that line there, and do this for another few weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks. If it can do that, I will put an entry in. But if it goes in the next week, it can just happily go without me, because it's the odds for me statistically are low on the success of that at the moment. It needs longer. And SANM, I'm just watching. I'm trying to find stocks showing huge relative strength against the indices. Okay, and this is a tech stock on the NASDAQ that's just been basing completely sideways while the NASDAQ's been dumping. It's sitting up there near new highs. And I'm just currently watching it live on another screen, and it hasn't broken out today. And I'm just watching. I just want that to tighten up and chop around here in its Davis box, because that came up in a Davis scan for a bit longer. And so these are the sort of things that I'm looking for, like the indices coming out of a bear market, hopefully, and stocks hitting all-time highs. The first to hit all-time highs out of huge, gigantic bases. And so there are a few other stocks like that around. I'm going to talk about a bit more next week, but SANM is one of them. Okay, now, but that needs to base longer and chop around longer and just tighten a little bit more there, okay, for me, before I put an order in. Okay, now, just quickly, mental psychology stuff. This is when a lot of people will be turning off this week's app, and this is probably the most important thing, full stop. I think most people fail because they don't have the mind stuff down pat, and I think it's important. I think the people that make it and the people that don't make it, the people that make it spend nearly as much time working on their training and their mental side of the game than they do staring at charts. And I know most people think that's probably ridiculous, but it really is true. And I just want to run through a few books which have been really helpful for me. This one's great, Minervini's book, probably my favorite. Just really, really good book, okay, on mindset secrets, and highly recommend reading it. There's one called Trading in the Zone, called by Douglas, I think, Mark Douglas, and it's pretty good. Pretty hard to get through it, so I think the audio book for that one's good, because this is not interesting stuff. It doesn't really grab your attention, does it? But if you can, I've listened to the audio book half a dozen times, and it really does help just retrain your mind on how to analyze this game. Okay, and then the Investors Quotient is another really good one, especially for investors. Okay, let's just get it up, and it's just it's a really good book. Okay, and I'm not going to go into them because I don't have time, but just these are the books that have been instrumental to me in retraining my mind. There are a few more. I'm just trying to figure out The Mental Game of Trading by Jared. This is a great book, and these are my 4 books which, if I'm having a bad period in my trading, which does happen from time to time, I will go over these books again, read them again, listen to audio books when possible, and just in the car or out running or whatever, working out or whatever, and it's just a great reset, okay? Because I think that everyone spends all their time staring at charts and trying to figure out the next big winner, but then the bell goes, they're in a trade, and then all this noise happens, and you get these wicks down, and everyone freaks out and doesn't know what to do, and they get in a trade that starts going well, and they freak out and they don't know what to do, and this is 100% a mental game. The technical analysis and figuring out what the good setups are. I mean, just so many people can do that. I mean, I see people, on Twitter all the time posting great charts, but a lot of them are losing money. Okay. And there's so many reasons people lose money, and I just want to quickly run through the things I think are most important, because mental weaknesses come in so many shapes and forms. One form of it is skipping your routine. Okay, like you have a few bad days, a few bad trades. You're in YAL and you think that this thing's going to gap up on takeover news, and it gaps down, and you get depressed and you have a week off, and it's exactly the wrong thing to do. Real traders don't get depressed and have a week off. They take the loss or the break even and they move on to the next trade, and they forget about the YAL trade. Okay, and that's just one example. And so, some people take weeks and weeks off and just dwell in depression because they had a losing trade, which is pathetic and just not what winning people and winning traders do. You've got to get back on that horse and just start and doing your routine and just getting back on the next trade. The other thing that people do, and you hear all the time, is like, I had a good mate who was going to trade TR because he knew I was all over it, and then it had this breakout and started racing up, and I texted him, I said, mate, how about TR? Oh, I didn't get it. And I was like, why the hell not? And he was like, oh, because I was busy and I forgot to put the order in. I mean, what a weak excuse. We're all busy. Everyone has shit to do. You not putting the order in is just self-sabotage. It's serious. It's legit self-sabotage, and people don't realize it. They just go, oh, I'm busy. Oh, I'll do it next time. I mean, that's not good enough. If you want to make money, put the damn order in. It's not that hard, okay? I'm not asking you to run a marathon, just asking you to log in and put a damn order in. But most people can't do it, okay? They get busy and they're tired, and they make excuses to miss trades, because they don't want to put themselves through the pain of the trade, because maybe their last trade was a loss and they haven't got over it yet. They're not realizing that each trade is independent of the previous trade, okay? Or something like that. I'm not sure why they're not putting orders in, because I don't really have that problem personally, but I'm telling you now, a lot of people do, and they have to get over it. And the way to get over it is to read all these books and to dive deep into your own psyche and meditate and think about it a lot and get the hell over it, right? Another reason is not having a plan. One guy's been reaching out to me on Twitter lately, and he's literally like posts so many charts to Twitter, and he's in like 10, 11, 12 trades at a time. I mean, holy shit, like, what are you doing? You're never, ever going to make money doing that. I'm in 1 or 2 trades. In a weak market, I'll be in 1 to 2 to 3 trades at a time. That's it. And so some people just do not have plans, and you got to have a plan. I've got to have a plan for every single thing that can happen. If this gaps up and runs, I know what I'm going to do. If this pokes up and starts dumping, I know what I'm going to do. If this cruises sideways for 4 weeks and goes nowhere after it breaks out, I know what I'm going to do. I just know what I'm going to do on every single instance. Nothing surprises me, and all I do is just do exactly what the thing tells me what my plan tells me to do. Okay. Another thing is just never giving up, because it's a hard game, and a lot of people just give up after a few years or a few months. And I think lastly, I've had trading coaches over the years, like mainly for mental. I've seen mental trading coaches. I'm not saying this because I want to coach anyone, by the way. I 100% do not. And I've tried that before, and I hate doing it. And I'm just not going to reply to anyone that asks me. So please don't. I'm not trying to make money off coaching here. So, but find someone that does want to do that, okay, and get help from them, because they are out there. Most of them in America. There's psychology coaches around. There's trading coaches around. You don't want someone that is paying a lot of money to. But I think for the psychology stuff, if you've got massive mental problems, then getting a psychology coach or whatever for a few months probably isn't a bad thing. Like, we all go and spend all this money doing courses, uni courses, TAFE courses, whatever, and you blow 20, 30, 100 grand, 200 grand on those, but you should be blowing a couple K on a trading coach is really small bickies because this is a game where a ridiculous amount of money can be made if you get your shit together. Okay, hope that's not too many hard truth bombs there for people, and take care. I'll chat next week about risk management and position sizing. Cheers, everyone. Bye.